Wentz had a nice bounce back year.
Season, he was good.
The issue for me with Wentz is always chips are on the line. Now what? And I picked the Jags because of Carson Wentz.
I think it's one of the worst losses in recent NFL memory for me. I think it's one of the worst losses in the history of their franchise. It absolutely falls at the feet of Carson Wentz, but everybody in that organization had a hand in it.
In the meantime, we have another quarterback on the move. Matt Ryan has been traded to the Colts.
Breaking news out of the NFL where Stephon Gilmore is signing with the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts have traded for Yannick Ngakoue.
Wow. Jonathan Taylor is the MVP of the NFL. This is the best run-blocking offensive line in the NFL.
Reggie Wayne talking about Matt Ryan, exact quote. It makes me throw up how much he reminds me of Peyton Manning.
In the end zone to touchdown from Taylor. Goodbye, touchdown. Off to the races is Kenny Moore, and it's a pick six. DeForest Buckner, down he goes again. Touchdown, 9 high. Julian Blackmon and Fabio Garicki. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. It's off. Darius Leonard, the maniac. Hands off to Taylor. Taylor, big run.
Good evening, everybody. We are kicking with the crew. How's everybody doing tonight?
Beautiful. Lovely.
Pretty good.
All right. I am Matt Roeder. I'm your host. I'm here with Zach and DeMarco. Trev is on his way. His laptop had just died. So this is going to be a double feature episode considering we just played 2 games since our last episode. We got 1-1 throughout the week, which is kind of odd, but we're going to break down those games. We're going to go over some injuries around the league. This is for any of our viewers who are good fantasy football players. I got a whole list for you guys to pay attention to. So how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Lovely. Happy about an ugly win.
It was more like an ugly Broncos loss, but we'll get there.
Ugly is an understatement. That was an awful win.
According to Jimmy, it was beautiful. All right. According to
Frank,
Jimmy, it was beautiful.
Frank, it was a great win.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He told the offense they did a great job. I was like, what? You're high. And I even have another clip. You know what? We'll do this one right now. We're gonna watch Stephon Gilmore. And what I want everyone to think about is the NFL. Oh, hold on, Trev's on. What up, Trev?
Hey, sorry I'm a little late. What's up, guys?
Got your LSU on, huh?
They wasn't on today, man. They sucked today, but it's all right.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this clip on real quick. All right, this is Stephon Gilmore's post-game interview. All right, he was still on the field, and I want you to think of NFL 2K5 and tell me that his little interview does not sound exactly like a pre-recorded NFL 2K5.
It looked like this game was over, like the Broncos were going to get the win until you grabbed that ball out of the end zone for Russell Wilson. What did you see on that play?
They tried me like 2 times in a row the play before. I knew he was going to come back, and I had to make him pay. He kept trying me, so I made him pay.
How do you describe what this defense was able to do tonight? There were injuries. It felt like nearly every series you were already missing some key pieces.
Yeah, these guys, you know, we put a lot of hard work during the week. You know, we got a great defense. You know, we don't have all our guys, but a lot of guys stepped up and made plays.
As this team as a whole is trying to find a rhythm, what do you think was a building block to move from tonight?
I mean, we just got to find a way to get wins. You know, they may not look good all the time, but we got to come up with a win, and we did that today.
Thanks, Devon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, that's who I stole that from. But, hey, bro, tell me that shit did not sound so scripted. Like,
oh, 100%. He is that dude, though. I love that.
Yeah, he kept trying
the last 2 plays, so I had to make him pay.
He kept trying me, so I made him pay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
He's
funny.
that guy.
All right, real quick. So we're not going to do around the NFL this week because we don't need to talk about 2 of the Colts games plus however many other games there were last week. But we're going to go ahead and go into an injury report real quick. This is around the whole NFL, so this is for anyone who's into fantasy. We've got you covered here. This is as of this morning, so if there are any updates, DeMarco will probably update us throughout the night like he did last week. So we'll go ahead and get into that real fast.
As you can see, this lovely list of NFL football. This is the worst part of about the NFL that we all hate is the injury report. And as you guys can see, it is very lengthy.
So just so you guys know, I didn't pull everyone, right? The NFL's report was a whole lot longer than this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they typically will do notable names. So unfortunately, if you got family members or people you really like, they may not necessarily be on the list.
Yeah. So I looked at names and I thought, okay, these guys are probably wide receiver 1 or 2, a tight end 1 or 2, running back 1 or 2, starting quarterback or backup quarterback. And even some players defensively I picked out so that people knew, what their defenses were looking like too. So as of questionable as of this morning is Isaiah McKenzie. He's out with a concussion. Tremaine Edmonds, I believe, was I can't remember what it was. I don't know why it didn't go in there. Jadeveon Clowney's out with an ankle injury. Jadeveon Clowney is questionable with ankle. Zay Jones is questionable with ankle. David Montgomery is an ankle. Amon-Ra St. Brown is an ankle. Marquise Goodwin is a knee and back. Alvin Kamara rib. Jarvis Landry is ankle. Tyreek Hill is a quad, which I think is funny because I saw McDaniels talk about him today, and he said that he was 100% certain that Tyreek Hill was either going to play or he wasn't going to play, and that was his update as of today. So
that narrows it down.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle out with a groin or questionable with a groin. Julio Jones with a knee. CeeDee Lamb with a groin. Tony Pollard with an illness. And Marcus Peters with a quad. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. If you got more for the questionable, because we'll move over to that.
Juju Smith-Schuster is questionable. Henry Rodenfro does not appear like he's going to be playing, so he is going to be doubtful. It doesn't have it listed, but that's what it would be called. I think that was it for the questionables.
Okay, so next week I'll add a doubtful too, because I did see a bunch of doubtfuls, but I didn't make that list. I kind of like skipped.
Terrell Edmonds was a concussion. Oh, that was different. You said Tremaine.
Dude, there's been a lot of those early on this year. It's kind of weird, actually.
I know. Supposedly, it was supposed to be about 10% down for everybody that wore the little Guardians, and it was supposed to reduce the concussions by like whatever percentage each year.
So I'm tracking that they have new helmets. I know Nyheim Hines was not wearing a new helmet this week when he got hit. So his concussion's not due to one of the new helmets. But I know that a lot of these guys are wearing new helmets, and the new helmets are not safe. That's what it's seeming to be.
That's been weird. Like, there's always concussions, and there always will be, but it's felt like, at least through the first couple weeks of this season, that the ones that have happened have been, like, more serious or more drastic.
At this point, literally might as well just put the Guardians on the players' heads during the games.
I mean, you might as well just go ahead and change the whole season to flag football like you did the Pro Bowl, because it's getting nuts, man.
Yeah.
All right, so QBs, who are out this week already is Tyrod Taylor. He's out with a concussion. Kenny Galladay's knee injury. Jamison Crowder's out with an ankle. Jake Kamara is out with an ankle. Dawson Knox is a foot hamstring. Keenan Allen is a hamstring. DeAndre Swift is an ankle and a shoulder. DJ Chark is an ankle. Michael Thomas is a foot. Tua is everything. Kyle Pitts is a hamstring. Cameron Bray is a concussion. Treylon Burke is a toe. Bud Dupree is a hip. Zach Cunningham elbow. Amani Cooper is a concussion. That's like half of Tennessee's defense. Jahan Dotson hamstring. Dak Prescott is still out because he doesn't have good grip. And Rashad Bateman. I do want to talk about Dak. I don't think Dak is really being held out because of his injury. I think they're just
he's still out. He still can't grip a football.
I get that, but I also think they're not going to rush it at the same time.
I think though, I mean, you remember how
no reason to rush it.
You remember how he got the job, years ago from Tony Romo, because they were being cautious with bringing Romo back, and now I'm not saying it's the same thing. I think Dak is in a better place than Romo was back then, but it makes sense, like if you have a quarterback that's got the hot hand, let him ride for as long as you need until your starter can get fully healthy.
Yep, I agree. Then also missed one on the questionable. Russell Gage is back questionable. He was healthy throughout the week. He was just listed as questionable today. And then Traylon Burks from Tennessee was also placed on IR, so he's going to be out for the next 4 games if anybody has him as well.
He's a rookie, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Looked like he broke his foot, but turned out to only be turf toe. So
they put him on IR for turf toe?
Yeah.
That's a bad case.
Well, no, it's not. Turf is pretty bad. If you think back to, I think it was about 2015, I think Julio Jones missed like an entire year for turf toe. And it's also something Jonathan Taylor's been dealing with as well. So I guess they could grade it. But I guess it can be pretty bad.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I had turf toe in high school. I played with it. It sucked, but I definitely taped it up and played with it. It was probably one of the worst pain in my life after every game. But it was like 3 weeks of just, ugh.
Yeah.
2 shots of Toradol, man.
And then
ibuprofen and Monster. That's what the Army does.
The big one is the new update to the concussion protocol list that they just came out with. So it's a concussion game day checklist now. A player receives impact on his head. Player exhibits or shows symptoms of concussion or a stinger. And then ATC booth, ATC technician or NFL coach, teammate, or anybody seems like a player should go into the protocol. And then once a player is immediately removed from the sideline, they get checked on. They need to go through at least it's supposed to be 5 steps, but they changed it, and there's now 4 listed steps. And they can either call you a no-go from the first step to the last step, and you can either come back to play if they deem you are good to go. But if you have LOC, ataxia, confusion, amnesia, you will not go back to play. And then if you have progressing or worsening symptoms of a concussion during that test, you cannot go back to play. So even if you stumble upon a word, they will not let you back into that game.
I mean, it makes sense. At this point, they're being like overly cautious maybe, but at the same time, it makes sense. They're already facing, potential lawsuits, what with everything that happened with Tua and everything. I mean, you saw this coming.
Yeah, this was updated as of 3:30 today. That is the new protocol there.
All right.
In other words, it's worded for the same thing that it was before, but I guess they're supposed to be more extensive with it now.
Yeah, they need to do something with these concussions because it's getting crazy. To see the way Naheem walked off the field,
yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah.
Now he's still doubtful moving forward, right? I know he's not expected to play Jacksonville.
We got 10 days off. So typically, a player a player will clear concussion protocol within about 7 days. But if you think back to last year, I think Isaiah Rodgers was on concussion protocol for about 2 weeks. So it all depends upon the player. But typically, they'll miss about 7 days, and then they should be good to go come back. So we should see him practicing maybe by Thursday or Friday if everything is okay.
Yep. Good deal.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and get back into we can go ahead and jump right into the Colts football. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about the ugly loss in Tennessee before we get into the ugly win in Denver. So I didn't watch the whole game, right? I was took my kids to a birthday party. So who wants to go first?
I'll do it. Yeah. All right. That loss was pathetic. Like, I'm not going to put it any other way. We came out flat. We looked flat. Play calling was terrible. Offensive line play was terrible. Defense was terrible. Like, all 3 phases sucked. Me personally, I put a lot of the blame on the coaching staff. Frank Reich, his inability to make the proper adjustments and or, call plays that we all can agree is so vanilla that I truly feel like an 8th grade football team could run a scouting report on the Colts and have a pretty decent time at least defending them, hypothetically. Also, what's going on with the offensive line? Our offensive line coach. Bro, that game was won and lost in the trenches, and the Colts flat out shit the bed.
100%.
So I also want to bring up, is Jonathan Taylor an issue right now? Because if you watch the Denver game, we ran the same type of run plays, and Philip Lindsay and
Deion Jackson.
No, that running scheme was different.
Yeah, that was a heavy running scheme, like man on man.
Like we actually went I form or under center. We didn't have Matt in the shotgun handed off. I even seen we used it was that two-step toss play that we ran to Lindsay. It got stopped short, but we were mixing it up. We did not really leave Denver a chance to just pack the A and B gap, and that's pretty much
a power
running.
Yeah, that was a power scheme. With Braden Smith moved to guard, they went heavy and big on the inside versus like they would typically on the outside.
I was telling somebody that if Jonathan Taylor was playing in that game, he would have went for about 150 yards.
He would have looked like JT again. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I agree.
I mean, aside from week 1, which is a tie, so it doesn't really matter, but our probably most efficient running game was this past one, or at least it seemed like it, because we actually had runs more than 2 yards. So, and it's funny we do that with the practice squad guys, but we can't do it with our top 2 running back in the league.
I wouldn't call Philip Lindsay a practice squad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like his talent is above that, but I mean, he literally came from the practice squad. So,
well,
actually,
you know what I mean? if you think about it though, we have a lot of good running backs on our stable. Like if you look at each guy that we got, so Jonathan Taylor, obviously we know Jonathan Taylor,
award winner. Yeah.
Then you go to Philip Lindsay is the only undrafted player to be a back-to-back 1,000-yard player, and then for some reason Denver didn't want him anymore and completely dropped off.
They got Melvin Gordon. They went with the name. They went with a name instead of a no name.
Exactly. And then you go to Deion Jackson, who's been our practice squad guy. And I mean, this guy is pretty much the same size as Jonathan Taylor, and I wouldn't necessarily he has that same talent, but he's capable of doing a lot of things. And then you go to number 4, Tyson Williams. A lot of people don't know Tyson Williams, but he was with Baltimore the last few years, and Tyson Williams is a pretty good running back himself. So we have a good stable of backs, and I once heard if you give a great running back a great O-line, he's going to have 4 or 5 yards to carry easily. You give an average running back a great running offensive line, they're still going to have good yards. But you put a great back behind a good behind a bad O-line, they're going to look either average or lower than that.
100%. Yeah, and
to me,
what I was
our run blocking.
What I was saying, it's not a knock on our running backs at all. I think Lindsay's super talented. Deion Jackson steps up. He's kind of like I can't think of the guy's name right now, but we had a guy like 2 years ago who he got no snaps, but when he did, he'd go for like 7 yards a carry. Can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, but you all probably remember what I'm talking about.
Jonathan Wilkins or Jordan Wilkins, I mean.
Yeah, Jordan Wilkins. So he kind of has that kind of a level of play, you know. So it's not a knock on these guys at all. It's just the fact that like we should be able to dominate anytime Jonathan Taylor steps on the field. We should be going for at least 100 yards rushing, and we haven't been doing that.
I will say it's also a mismanagement on the coaching on the coaching staff, not using the weapons. If you know you got 4 or 5, not including Hines, 4 or 5 beasts in the backfield, bro, line it up, dot the eye, and just run it down the throat. I don't care if it's Maryland eyeball. I don't care if you run the option. Tell the defense to stop that. Like, I mean, that's my thought behind it.
To answer your question there, Deion Jackson would get more playing time. But unfortunately, with JT and Hines, there's only so many carries that can go around because JT is a 3-down back. And Deion Jackson has actually been on the team as our third back, but he hasn't really touched the field. And Philip Lindsay was on the practice squad, so it's just tough to get Jackson some carries.
And then to add on to that, right? What I've noticed is Frank has a lot of issues with rotations. So, and this came in Thursday's game. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that too. But I noticed in Thursday's game that, let's say Philip Lindsay breaks off a 20-something yard run. Because remember, I think it was a few plays before I texted you guys in the group chat, and I was like, hey, I think Philip Lindsay's about to break one. Right? He was going to break one eventually. You just had that feeling that he was going to, and he did. But then the next play, he's off the field.
Is he in charge of that, or is that a
that
coach on the sideline?
That's the coach on the sideline. It should be the backs coach. Frank can, like, if he calls a play, he can want a specific grouping in together. But yeah, that's going to be the backs coach typically. The other tough part.
So that's on Scotty Montgomery then.
Yeah, because I mean it's so different when you're used to having Jonathan Taylor for what 80% of the plays a game, and then you go to Ryan. So they're trying to find their guy to get in the mix. But sometimes as a coach, I mean, it just goes back to our coaching. We all know our offensive coaching staff is not really good outside of Reggie Wayne right now. And it's just tough to say. Sometimes you got to realize as a coach, this is my hot hand. I need to go with my hot hand.
Stick with him,
And so it's just a tough thing right now. And I honestly, the way that we came out with that offensive line, I haven't heard about any switches in practice. I haven't heard any analysts say that. I haven't heard anything about it. So I almost
that was a surprise.
We went through the walkthrough on Wednesday and just came up with that lineup. So, but I meant to send this to you earlier, man. I don't have it right now, but I seen somebody was posting some videos about why our offensive line was so bad, and I saw two specific players. Ryan Kelly, I don't know what has happened to him. His play has dropped off so terribly that it's just astonishing right now. And a lot of it we were talking about before was communications. But, I mean, there was a play against the Broncos. I can't even name the defensive tackle, but he completely blew up Ryan Kelly right into a run play. I mean, Ryan Kelly is just getting manhandled right now. This has been the same for the past, 11 games now. I mean, this is ever since he came back from the unfortunate passing of his daughter, but it hasn't looked good for a while. And then there was also a play with Mo Ali Cox, who just completely got blew by a defensive end as well. So a lot of this is coming down to technique, players not being able to execute, and just some misses by Ballard here. I mean, we had two good veteran players that we let walk away and thought that Danny Pinter was going to come right in and be able to handle right guard.
Yeah. Well, I can say that Danny Pinter came in and handled center pretty well.
I've never questioned him at center.
That was we were able to start moving the ball a little bit once he came into play center. I'd still say Pryor at right tackle is suspect. Not even suspect,
bro.
He's a revolving door. Yeah.
I mean,
there were plays where a lot of times when you're watching the game live, you don't see certain things. Usually you have to go back, watch the tape, and see what happened. But there were multiple plays on Thursday where you saw live what happened. Like, you saw that right tackle Pryor just got blown by. Like, he didn't even touch dudes. Like, dudes just ran right by him. I don't understand. You know the count.
My 2-year-old could trip a guy better than he was blocking.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've coached offensive lines at the age of 7, 8 years old, and I was teaching these kids, and these kids wouldn't have gotten blown off the line that bad. Like, I've taught kids, our guys, adults in semi-pro, I've taught that offensive line. These guys never played football a day in their life. They wanted to learn how to play. They're 24 years old, and these kids were fat, dude, like out of shape fat. And I was able to get these guys to get off the ball and be able to block on the edges. And if we could do that, how come Pryor, as a professional, is just getting beat by guys who are essentially backups?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Banner and
just so big that it's a hindrance to him.
Yeah.
Lack of the agility, because Zach Banner was a 6'9" coming out of USC.
Yeah,
I don't know how big Pryor is.
Especially at the tackle position,
and I think he was like 370. Dude was just massive.
Wow.
But I mean, you can easily get a little bit lower, and you're running right around.
Low man wins. Yeah,
it is just.
It's
awful watching that guy play right tackle.
I do want to go back to something you said about how we've let the older players go and just replace them with the guys we had in house. That's not the first time Chris Ballard has done this either. If you go back to last year, we had no pass rush whatsoever. We were looking at Danico Autry having a great year, Houston having a solid year, and
No. Danico Autry did not have a great year.
Yeah, see,
he had a year we could have used.
One second. His numbers, Danico Autry is fluffed, right? Because if you watch this guy on tape, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's getting sacks because of who he's next to. Jeffrey Simmons at the time is disrupting the play. And then Danico Autry just kind of comes and cleans up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that cleanup guy. He's not really that great. Yeah, we missed him last year, right? Because we could have used his 9 sacks that he had the year before. We could have totally used it. I understand that point. But this year, I don't miss him.
No, I'm not saying long term. I'm saying Chris Ballard has shown a tendency to, like, he'll let veteran players go and just trust the guys he has. Sometimes it works out, you know, like Alec Pierce, for instance, if you want to see him as a replacement for T.Y. Like that, so far it looks good. But he's done this other times and it's missed. I mean, yeah, T.Y. hasn't been there for a while. But you get what I'm saying? Like, he's showed a tendency to do this. It's been kind of his.
You went mute, bud. Zach, can you hear him?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No,
Zach,
he wasn't
Trev,
your button.
There we go. Sorry.
There you go. Go ahead. You can reset.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's hit or miss when he does this, right? Like replacing veterans with either rookies we just got that he really likes or young guys that we have in-house that he's seen practice. It works sometimes, but I'm still not sure about the O-line. Like, obviously hasn't looked great so far.
Hey, there are 2 players that I hated that he let go. There are 2 players. Both of them have been injured since they left us. Justin Houston, right? I got it. The dude was he was ancient in NFL years, right?
Yep.
But he was stellar for us. Why let him go, right? And then Anthony Walker. Yeah.
I still miss Anthony Walker.
I miss Anthony Walker.
I miss A-Walk.
And even though our linebacker core is a lot
they're doing
better,
good, yeah.
They're doing really well without Darius Leonard. And I would say that so I saw this after the Tennessee game is that we let up 24 points with Darius Leonard on the field. When he came off the field, we didn't let up a score at all. It was 0 points that we let up after he came off the field.
I think those more the Titans than us, though.
I agree. I'm just saying that was thrown out there.
No,
I mean, I'm not putting that on Darius. Okay.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just
we don't have Darius. All right, Darius was like the high end bougie Gucci, right? And now we got that. Now we got that Ross version. You know, we went to Ross and we brought that shirt on clearance.
He about to see this. He gonna tag you on Twitter.
I want Darius back. All right, like I want Darius back. But nah, man, like our linebacker core is great, and it's just Anthony Walker was one of those guys that he led our team in tackles, and then we didn't re-sign him, and I'm like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, see, my thinking about a couple players is like with Anthony Walker, him leaving is I believe with his leadership, there's no way in hell last year we go into we go week 16 or 17 and we lose to the Raiders in our building. There's no way we go week 18 and we go to Jacksonville and he lets us lose. There's no way I think Anthony Walker's on our team. His leadership to me was better than any of his play that he ever put on the field.
And you also have to put into consideration the chemistry he had with Leonard.
It's huge, yeah.
They were best friends. They were damn near brothers. You know what I'm saying? They were inseparable on the field and off the field, and that was known. And that's why it worked. I remember.
So hypothetically, what we're saying is the leadership in this Colts locker room is a problem. And regardless of
I don't think so. I don't think
it's not necessarily.
I'm not going to say defensively because defensively, I mean, we still.
I'm talking as a team. Defensively, I think fine.
No, so the difference is I think like if you think like I think it's just the type of leadership that you have in certain moments of games. So like if you think back to week 1 this year, when we're down 20-3, and Matt Ryan's up and down the sideline, like let's go, we're gonna win. We come back, tie the game. If that's Carson Wentz, we probably lose that game 28-3. Now you go to Jacksonville, week 18 of last year. If we have Matt Ryan on our team, I don't think we lose that game 26-11, me personally. Well, I think we probably still lose it just because of the way we are with Jacksonville, but I think we would have lost something like 26-23 versus 26-11 and look like crap the whole game.
Right.
Because our offensive line,
here's what I want to say.
We could have had last year's offensive line with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
I want to say
we have Carson Wentz with this offensive line, we would look better.
It just doesn't make sense.
I think the leadership is great. I think Matt Ryan is actually good for this team. And as much as we all were like, hey, bench him, right, on Thursday, I don't think it was a bench permanently. I think it's not your night, dude.
Yeah.
Have a seat, right? And that
can't get
happens.
this- we can't get this guy killed.
You've seen that happen. You're not moving the ball. You're holding the ball because you don't trust your offensive line. That is clear. That is clear because you trust Alec Pierce. We've seen it. We've seen you trust Alec Pierce, and you're trusting him more. He had 8 receptions on Thursday.
Now there is a couple times that I am getting upset with Matt Ryan for not hitting Paris Campbell wide open.
No,
I don't know. I don't know what his issue is with that, but there's been 3 key third downs that Matt Ryan has literally either looked away or just completely ignored Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
The crosser when he got hit for the fumble against Tennessee, and then just against Denver, Paris Campbell's coming across and he's wide open. Nobody's near him and he doesn't hit him.
But
so I don't know what their issue is.
My rebuttal to that is I do think, and this is going off of what Naheem said, we have growing pains right now with Matt Ryan, and
100%.
I think he's getting it with certain receivers. Right in the beginning of the season, he was targeting Michael Pittman the majority of the time. That was his guy, right? But now we're starting to see Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce has been getting more receptions every week, and this last week he got 8, which was double. Right, Thursday was double the receptions from Sunday.
Somebody also posted a stat that to answer that, Pat Surtain was guarding Michael Pittman, so that's why Michael Pittman wasn't getting targeted that much on Thursday.
You notice he moved at the end of the game, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Swapped over.
That's one of those things where you just don't really want to target a good corner. Like if you look at the other side of the game, Russell Wilson kept targeting Stephon Gilmore, and look how that worked out for him.
So
there's that.
I mean, I get that. That's a way
to
look at it.
The other thing for Alec Pierce and Campbell is Campbell is playing 80% of the snaps, and Alec Pierce is only playing 49% of the snaps, and somebody was talking about that. So that's also a thing that we may need to see jump if Matt Ryan is really loving Alec Pierce that much, because it takes a whole lot of weight off of Pittman, and then Pittman can keep being our key third down chain mover Reggie Wayne was towards the back end.
So what I don't understand is why Paris Campbell's not playing from the slot. Why is he playing on the outside? He has thrived from the slot. Put him in the slot. He's a slot guy.
Speed. We don't have a true number 2, and the best way to get Alec open is use him in the slot, motion him. And the availability.
That's my thing.
Hold on. Alec Pierce showed on Thursday that he's always open, even when he's not.
I was just about to say, you can call it which way you want to, but right now I'm going to say Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman Jr. are number 1 and 2.
Number 1, number 2.
And to me, you can even switch them. I don't care how you do it, but all I know is Michael Pittman is going to be open on third downs. Alec Pierce is going to go get that ball for you no matter what, just like that little flutter pass.
There were 2 catches on Thursday that Alec Pierce should not have caught.
Oh, yeah.
The flutter pass.
One of them was a tip ball,
and it was a punt, and Alec Pierce took it away. So to me, it's like those 2 guys. To me, you can swap them any way you want.
Yeah.
And Alec Pierce can even take it deep to be that X, if that's what you want to call it. But to me, is also then you got Paris Campbell as that 3. Put him in the slot. You can even have him out wide and throw him that screen that he just threw if the receivers are going to be off, because our receivers clearly aren't blocking in those screens. So just let him take it one-on-one. That's why I hate our play calling and our schemes, because it's like I feel like this offense would be so easy for me to draw up and get guys in space and take advantage of their abilities. Like
that's what I'm saying.
That's one of the biggest problems.
Go
ahead.
If you go 4 wide receivers, bro, 4, we could destroy teams with 4 receivers. 4 receivers. You got Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce.
Well, that depends on our.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Paris Campbell, Ashton Doolin.
Yeah.
That's 4 receivers, and you still have a running back in the backfield.
So what I was going to say is depends on our 5 up front.
No, I get that. But if you're utilizing the 2 in the middle, if you're utilizing Doolin and Campbell the same way, deep cross, shallow cross, you got the other 2 doing whatever you need them to do. Don't send them both. Don't send them both deep, because Pierce, you can send him down the sideline, he'll get it. Pittman can do like a shallow post. You can run that all day.
Bro, you preaching what I screamed at my TV, bro. Like, send one deep and send one short. Like, bro.
It's not that hard.
And that's the problem, right? Is you can run that all day. I can run that all day, but Frank refuses to run that all day. He just won't.
Here's the thing. Jonathan Taylor is a blocking running back. The dude has shown it before. That man will lay you out if you come on a blitz. Use it. What are we doing?
And then my thing about the offensive line that just pisses me off so much is, so Ballard knew we were struggling at left tackle. I mean, Ryman has actually, to me, played pretty well. He's the best tackle I've seen play for us all year.
Since AC, yeah.
Regardless, I just meant this year. Regardless of the holding calls or not, I think that's something that he'll work out. But he should have pushed for a left tackle. And then if you look at our other 4 positions who were supposed to be solidified, he let Chris Reed and Mark Glowinski walk for less than $6 million. We sit with Nick Foles on our bench every week for $6 million.
And we don't need him.
I literally hate that. And every time I watch like the issues we have inside our interior offensive line with an immobile quarterback, it just pisses me off every week.
Hey, real quick, because I'm gonna talk about that too. Real quick, I just gotta say this because the Phillies game 2 of the wild card just started, so I gotta say go Phillies. All right, sorry, I had to say that.
My Rays just lost in a tantalizing 1-0 game.
Oh, you're a Rays fan?
Yeah.
We won.
Somebody on Twitter that's already following me is Rays fan.
We won last night, so if we win tonight, the wild card's over for us. We move on.
There we go.
And that's all I need. It's crazy because the Phillies fired our GM early on in the season, and we were sucking, and here we are in the playoffs. So it's great. I haven't seen us in the playoffs since I was like, before I deployed.
It's like 10, 11 years ago.
11 years, yeah, dude. It's wild.
My Giants suck, so
it's all right. It's all right. Y'all didn't always suck.
Got a
You
bunch
guys
of
watch
teams that suck.
baseball?
I do.
I'm a Pirates fan.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know what that's like?
I'm sorry.
Do you know what that's like?
That's brutal.
I'm sorry.
Do you know what that's like? That's
Pat
awful.
McAfee was saying
I
that
wish
they
that
should
on
sell the
nobody.
team and move it.
Yeah.
Please.
So
I'm not even an idiot.
I do want to talk about the second half of the Titans game before we move on to fully talk about the Broncos game.
Sure.
The second half was the game. I watched the second half of that game because I wasn't going to put myself through the stress of watching the first half.
Not worth
if that
it.
makes sense, because I didn't watch the game. Right, took my kids to the birthday party. So the second half showed what the offense can be. Right up until we got to the 35-yard line, and I was saying it all week. Once we hit that 35-yard line, we struggle, and it seeped into the Denver game because it was the same exact bullshit in the Denver game. Our play calling changes. Frank is out coaching himself.
Yeah.
That is the problem. He's trying to be too smart with his play calling, and it's not working. Because while he's being too smart, he's being oversimplified and easily predictable.
And it just gets shut down, and we get nothing in the red zone.
Every time.
100%.
So when I watched the Tennessee game, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 4 times in the second half we had the ball. I believe it was 4 drives total. And we made it 24-17, right, in the third quarter. After that, we got into scoring territory. I'm talking field goal range, 35 plus. Every drive. No points. Zero.
JT fumbled that last one.
Yeah, JT fumbled. I remember that. And that was on him. But
he got his ankle rolled up.
But play calling at that point was also not that great because we were utilizing who we needed to get down there. And once we got down there, Frank stopped utilizing the quick throw game, right?
Yep.
Because they were moving the ball by throwing the ball quickly. Matt wasn't getting hit. We were running the ball. It was pretty balanced. Once we got to that 35-yard line, for some reason, he felt like he had to take a shot every drive.
Analytical, man.
Once we hit the
It's
35.
analytics. I think Frank Reich is too dependent on analytics.
But the thing is analytically, we are not deep. We can't go deep. We don't have the time. Analytically, we don't have time. It looked like a Chuck Pagano offense.
I think it's just in his mind, right? He sees it's Matty Ice because he says that like every locker room speech is like Matty Ice pulled through for us. You know, I think he's a fan of the guy, and I think he believes, which you should believe in your quarterback. But I think he has too much faith in him to make these deep throws instead of just doing what works and driving down the field.
See, the problem, exactly what you just said right there, is the problem to start every year with us having a new quarterback.
Every year.
Because
all of our problems come back to that.
Think back to last year, our first 4 or 5 weeks, we struggled as well, and then Frank White got the play calling together, defense started gelling, and we just went on that run. So this is pretty much every year for us having a new quarterback and Frank Wright having to basically try and feel like I guess he has to cater to the guy, and it just turns off our whole offense to do something else.
I like that you said cater, because what I feel like is Frank, when he gets these new quarterbacks, right, like Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, now Matt Ryan, each one of those quarterbacks was trying to revitalize their career. They were trying to bring it back to life.
Sure.
And I felt like Frank felt obligated because we either signed or traded for them, because I believe we just signed Phillip Rivers. We didn't trade for him.
Yeah.
But we traded for Carson, and then we traded for Matt Ryan. So
And he also had to what was it? He had to build up Jacoby.
Right. And that's funny. I was going to bring that up in a little bit. Was Jacoby, the year of Jacoby? That's what I call it. But do you guys think that Frank feels like he's obligated, or that he owes Chris Ballard? Like, Chris Ballard brings him this quarterback that is kind of struggling, and Frank feels like he needs to show why Ballard brought that guy here.
I feel like what he does is he owes it to the quarterback to make them look better than what they are.
More than Chris Ballard. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he does, though. I agree with what you're saying, is that he does cater to these quarterbacks. And it's like I said before, like, you kind of want to, because, like, it's your quarterback. Like, you should trust them, but at the same time, when you see what's working, you can just stick with it.
And see, that's one of the reasons why I love Mike Tomlin, though, because Mike Tomlin in this situation, he would sit here and be like, "Look, I don't care who that quarterback.
You don't give a shit.
We're going to do for this team what wins the football game. So if that means that my quarterback has to throw it 15 times, we're going to go ahead and win that way. If my quarterback has to throw it 38 times because our running game isn't going, we're going to win it that way."
Oh, I need to bench you for a rookie that's going to throw 3 picks? All right, I'll do it. Like,
yeah, Frank Wright is going to be like, okay, we're going to dial up what works for you. What do you like best? Rather than being like, okay, I see you do this well. What do you think you do well? This is what we're going to do for the offense. And then I'm going to add creativity to it from what we have from our other pieces. And he doesn't do that.
It goes more to our core problems too, right? Like we've been talking all year about identity, Colts identity. It's like we almost don't have one because we always end up adapting to the quarterback's identity. Like whatever they like, we become. And like sometimes it works. But
last year offensively, we were all RPOs. Everything was a damn RPO because that's literally what Wentz liked. This year, you've heard Matt Ryan talk about it. He loves a play action game. Wants to be able to play action off everything. His footwork is connected to everything because he comes from a West Coast offense.
Yep.
He doesn't have the offensive line to do that this year.
This is a valid point. This is a valid point, right? Because you just said it, right? Last year, we looked like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year,
we were heavy RPO.
We look like last year's Atlanta Falcons. If you go back and watch the Atlanta Falcons from last year with Matt Ryan, how often was he hit?
Every
damn play.
Every damn play, bro. He was struggling to be able to pass the ball. We've literally become the teams of the quarterbacks that we took.
Well, outside of 2020 with Rivers.
That's
his Chargers sucked that previous year. And I think so. I think more so that year, it was Phillip Rivers that came in and said, "Hey, look, I'm 38 years old. I can barely move. We're going to run the ball to JT. Let me get some quick passes out to these young guys that you got out here, and we're going to go on this little run here. Let's do this thing."
And for what it's worth, that's been the only quarterback experiment that's worked so far.
Who's the young guy? Is that
probably me? I'm so sorry. My bad. I don't know.
So that was me last week. That's why I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a different mic."
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Poncho.
My bad, Kate.
But yeah,
I think.
Oh, go ahead, Zach.
Go ahead, DeMarco. Okay, I think Frank is too concerned with trying to be buddy with the quarterback instead of trying to win damn games.
I was gonna say. Yep.
He wants that relationship that he had with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles.
You can't have that.
No,
you can't have that. It's year one. If this is a multi-year process, especially Ryan wants to come in and win a Super Bowl. Well, Ryan, this is a playbook. Pick out what you like and you don't like. You're a 14-year vet. You can learn an offense, learn it. This is how we're going to win games. Your input is appreciated, but I'm not going to redo my entire offense just because you don't like this or something you've not ran.
That's how it should have been. That's how it should have been. But I don't feel like he approached it like that.
And that's our toughest time to win games right there. When Frank feels like he has to keep trying to build these relationships. Like, look, man, you built these relationships from March till August. After that, you need to go do what wins football games. The players 100%. Are going to respect what you're doing out of the relationship for the team. That's what Frank has to remember. And it's not.
I will say it was cool to see Frank get mad and get pissed and yell at somebody on the sideline because I feel like the players actually reacted.
He was lighting up at the refs.
Well, who did he yell at?
Yeah, I didn't see
the refs.
Anybody. Maybe
he was blowing up on the refs this past Thursday game.
Oh, well, I'm glad he fucking did because I wish I could have yelled at them too. Oh boy, I swear to God, dude. I'm telling you. Every time.
I'm bad with refs, bro. I'm bad with refs. It's my worst thing with coaching.
Me and Matt sitting there on every call. Somebody's like, "Oh, Raymond was holding again." Me and Matt instantly coming back. Terrible call.
Every time.
Terrible call.
So I'm glad that we're here, right? Because I changed the bottom so that we would move into the Denver game and slide away from Tennessee. Because
Frank was getting hot.
So those Brayman calls were crap.
Oh my God.
Crap. The only one that was legit. Was the false start.
Exactly. I'm like, he's sitting
a
there
lot was
blocking
like
the guy,
tic-tac,
and I thought it was funny because they said he got called for holding when he hooked the guy, right? They come back 2 plays later. It's literally on the camera. He's hooking a guy, and there's no call.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
But the hook he was doing, right? Because the hooks that they call the flag for, or that's against the rules, is when he hooks and he's got the jersey.
Yeah, no, exactly. But the thing is,
because what is he supposed to do, right? When a guy goes underneath you, you're automatically hooked. There's nothing you can do about that. So he was pushing them to the ground. He wasn't pulling them. He was taking them. He was moving with them. When they tried to slide under him, that's as an offensive tackle. And I know Zach was an offensive lineman, so he can correct me if I'm wrong. But this is how I've coached them. If they go underneath you or wherever they go, you take them. You go with them. Because you're going to take their momentum and use it against them. And that's what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. But it all depends on the outside hand movement too. Because as soon as you get your hands get out on the shoulder pad, they're going to call that regardless. But if you keep it within the breastplate or the width of the numbers, it should never ever be a hold.
You preaching that gospel, because I'm telling you, I swear, when he had him, he's moving him outside, and then he hooks underneath his arm, and it wasn't Bradley Chubb, it was the other guy, the guy that was moving off the ball hella fast. No, not Gregory, it was, I forgot his damn name. God damn it, the defensive end, he was getting off the snap.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, because Gregory was.
But he basically came, and Raymond already had him. Matt Ryan is throwing the ball, and he spins back inside, and they call a hold. That's not a hold. That's a dead play. The ball, the play is done there. You don't throw the flag on that. They throw the flag anyway. I think we had a dumb pass interference call that was bull crap.
I remember that.
Those calls were killing me.
And that pass interference call was even worse because so even the announcers, the broadcast team tried to say that he hooked him, that he hooked his hips, and he didn't. He didn't even. He
barely touched him. He barely touched him.
That
that's literally how you're taught to play DB. You get one arm around the hip. You don't grab them. You just have it. It's almost like it's like a magnet. It's like a magnet. You can feel his body, but you're not touching him.
With the crowd,
you come across, and you go elbow to wrist. You go elbow to wrist. Like that's literally how you're taught. And as long as the receiver's body doesn't turn, there should be no flag.
And there was no turn. There was no turn of the body.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
It's one of those things where like he played really well. Yeah, he played really well for the most part. I think he's just gonna get bullshit calls sometimes just for how he's playing. But as long as he can keep Matt Ryan from getting hit, those tic-tac calls will happen or they won't happen depending on the reffing crew you have.
And I'm not worried about his strength because the strength will come.
No, he's strong.
He did well. He did well. He got walked back his first couple times, but that's rookie adjustment.
Yeah, I think that's more so the speed when the guy get off the ball and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell he was taking cheater sets. He wasn't setting as deep. He was kind of setting wide without giving up the inside. So he didn't,
Hey, that's what I'm gonna love for him. As long as I'm not seeing Matty Ice get hit, I love Raymond for what he's doing.
So with the offensive line, my issues is clear with I guess across the board with everybody is Pryor, right? Ryan.
I think it's twofold.
I think Ryan Kelly is going to figure it out eventually. I mean,
You got to believe he will.
He better, man.
He's been so good for us for years, but this year he's just a little off. But prior, right?
Did we even get an update on Kelly?
No, there were
it was a hip injury. I heard.
You're my update guy, bro. If you don't know, I
you're
don't
the
know.
update guy. So it's fine if Pinter starts, right? But my issue is we need to find somebody quick to replace Pryor, because on Thursday, like I said earlier, there were multiple times when you're watching a game live, right? You don't see it. You usually have to go back, watch the tape, and then you see what happened wrong. But on Pryor, it's constantly dudes just running past him without being touched. And
so
that
my
happened
thing
Thursday.
is, what happened with Will Fries? Because I didn't really catch him on really any bad plays, but they didn't play him again. Because I feel like, why not stick with the combination of you got Ryman back,
you got no push in the run game. I mean, if you watch that Tennessee game and you watch them trying to run the ball on the right side, it was non-existent. Okay. That's probably why he got benched, because you got no push in the run game.
So then my key to this line would be to put Ryman at left tackle, Big Q stay at left guard, Pinter or Kelly at center.
I'm putting Pinter at center, Kelly at right guard, and Braden Smith at right tackle. That's what I want to do. Those are the five I'm rolling out there.
Bremen needs to stay on the left.
This is it.
Because there's no one else I trust on that left side right now. After seeing the way that he blocked on Thursday, which was a lot better than what we'd seen in previous weeks, I want to keep him at left tackle, and he's going to progress as the year goes on. The issue is
having Quentin next to him.
Plus he's got Quentin, so he's going to learn from Quentin. But on the right side is where the question is, and Braden Smith at right guard is fine. I think the middle of the line was pushing once Kelly was out. Once Pinter was in, the middle of that line was pushing. The issue was the right.
I have no problem starting Ryan Kelly at right guard and putting Smith back at his position at right tackle. Like, I think the smartest thing to do would be Smith at right tackle, Ryan Kelly at right guard, Danny Pinter at center, Quentin Nelson at left guard, and Raymond at left tackle. And if we're a primarily running team, guess what? We're going to run the ball 3 out of those 4 downs anyway. I mean, hell, that's what Frank typically does. And so then when we have to make a pass, put a tight end over there, you help out on that right side. You help out with Smith so he doesn't get beat like a drum, chip, a back, something. And you get your play action game, or you get a thing off quick. But I think having those 5 guys out there give the Colts the best chance to consistently block week in and week out. Because I think Ryan Kelly's too old to be playing center anyway. I mean, he just doesn't look athletic, like an athlete anymore.
Too old? We just paid him.
I know. That's the problem. We just paid him. Like, he's looking
not
old.
Just paid, but a couple years ago.
Like, he's not – to me, center – as a former offensive lineman, center is the most athletic position on the offensive line. I don't care what anybody says. They say, well, left tackle deals with the athletes. No, you got to be fast play left tackle. Don't let them lie to you. But the best athlete, in my opinion, on the offensive line has always been the center, because, they communicate everything. They see everything. They're in charge of everything. So, like, to me, I don't think Kelly has it anymore to play center. He's probably in the stage of his career where if I want to keep playing and improve my longevity, I need to think about making a switch.
Well, if Frank watches tape and doesn't see that Pryor is the main issue on our offensive line, then he needs to stop watching tape and let somebody else fucking do it. Because
does Ballard make personnel decisions? Because that could also be a Ballard thing, like we discussed. The reason why Brandon Faison always plays on defense versus, like Isaiah Rodgers.
He brings him in. I don't think
Ballard doesn't make any.
Though.
No, he doesn't make any on-field decisions.
Well, Grigson used to make on-field decisions. That's why I asked if Ballard, does that or not. Or
that is one thing he's been good about. I think is kind of like staying in his lane and leaning on his head coach. Right or wrong, he's given Frank a lot of leeway to make those decisions.
So what I want to talk about too is how everybody's praising Stephon Gilmore and everything, and it's great. We brought him in for that, right?
He's that dude.
He's that dude, right? That interception at the end of the fourth quarter was just stupid by Russell Wilson and the offense in general. I mean, yeah, it's cool that we won the game. It's great. I personally don't feel like we won the game. I feel more crappy about the win than I do excited. It's great that we won the game, but at the same time, it feels like, yeah, maybe we won it, but more like the Broncos just lost it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when there's 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game, the Colts have no timeouts. It wasn't fourth down. It was only third down. They could have ran the ball, taken it to the 2-minute warning, right? Kicked a field goal on fourth down. If they didn't get the, that's assuming they didn't get the first down. They kick the field goal if they don't go for it on fourth. And then they were up by 6. Looking at the whole game, we didn't even sniff the end zone once.
No.
The whole game. We didn't even sniff it.
I think the closest we got was like the 23-yard line.
Yeah. So at that point, strategically and analytically, I would have kicked the field goal, and that would have been the end of us. So realistically, that whoever made the call to throw that ball, which was, from what I'm hearing, was Russell Wilson in general.
2 plays.
Stupid.
They gave him 2 plays.
It was stupid. You challenged a guy who, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Stephon, because when you do watch that play, if you take that play anywhere else in the time of the game, let's say third quarter, right? That's a damn good read by Stephon Gilmore. He saw it. He took his intuition step kicked in. He went inside. So I'm not taking away the interception at all from Stephon Gilmore, because when you watch that play over and over and over and over and over again, and whatever, you want to watch it from the broadcast view, you want to watch it all 22 view, Stephon Gilmore read that. He didn't even press him. He stepped off, went to the inside, and just kept his eyes on the receiver and followed him inside. And then the ball was thrown directly to him. Yeah. Right? But it was just stupid situationally for the offense to even do that.
And even beyond just doing it, he had a wide receiver wide open. I want to say it was Hamlin.
That's a different play.
Yeah.
Are you not talking about the slant at the end? My bad.
See, that's my other issue.
This was in the
that
fourth
play,
quarter.
that other play that everybody keeps saying was open for KJ Hamler.
I don't think he was.
He wasn't wide open. He wasn't wide
More
open.
open than who he
wide
threw.
open. Isaiah Rodgers got beat on a
if you
pig.
go back and watch the film, Isaiah Rodgers is only about 2 steps behind, and if he throws that ball, I guarantee you it's going to be like that one-handed crazy interception he had in practice.
Yeah, but we know Rodgers. We know he's capable of that. If you're
That's what
Russell
I'm
Wilson
saying.
dissecting that play, like he didn't even look at the guy. You have to see this guy with damn near an open lane,
No, I'm saying Russell Wilson is cooking hot dogs with no water. So I mean, this
Thank
is.
God, yeah.
I mean, I understand. I understand.
Wait, I grill mine.
No, he puts his in the pot on the stove and puts no water. That's how he's cooking his hot dogs. I'm pretty sure he was gonna mess it up somehow, but I'm just saying, from the fact that everybody says he was wide open, I think you don't understand that. Isaiah Rodgers was coming in to close it, so he would have been throwing that ball late. And the one thing as a quarterback in the NFL that you cannot do, that people will tell you over and over and over and over, is you cannot read late. So people can say what they want, but I mean, even Mahomes, you can't read later. You get the concussion he got in Cleveland a couple years ago.
What we do have to look at, though, is that it was a bad read by Russell Wilson, because the initial start of that play, Isaiah Rodgers got picked, right?
Yeah, he was.
It definitely wasn't meant to be a pick. It was just a good route by the slot, right? Because it wasn't a pick play.
It was a route combination.
It was a flat and then a slant, and Isaiah got caught behind the flat.
Yep.
And at that point, he did end up a few steps behind. If Russell would have read that play from the beginning, he would have been able to hit in the end zone.
Look that way.
He didn't even look that way. He knew he was going to Gilmore. So that's Russell Wilson doing a terrible read in the beginning, because if anything, if he would have read that in the beginning, that's a touchdown every time.
But that's exactly what Ryan Tannehill does when he stares down his receivers as well. So, I mean, guys just got to be ready at some point to jump some routes. And that's what I kept trying to say last week on guys that are like, they're not really progression quarterbacks. And they're just like they know their guy, RPO play action, or they're looking for one direct receiver. Our guys got to be ready. You got to be ready to jump some damn routes.
Yeah, but are we taught that? Like, is that in our defensive technique? Or is it one of those things where Gus is like, don't get beat deep because if you get beat deep, I'm gonna cut you.
That's the thing
they
about
keep everything
Stephon
in front
Gilmore
of
being
them.
a smart corner. Yeah, they keep it in front of them. They play off about 7 yards in their cover threes. He said we were playing press man. I've seen probably about 20% of press man on film.
Yeah,
so
I've only seen it twice this year.
I'm sorry, not press man, press cover 3. Because when you play press cover 3, all you're doing is holding a guy up until you feel like he's going to get past you on the line of scrimmage, and then boom, you're taking your steps off, moving one step inside, and watching the quarterback. So if you're watching that, our defense should have at least 4 interceptions right now.
Should.
So that's not. I don't know what scheme they're teaching, but we're lucky enough to have a cornerback as smart as Stephon Gilmore to be able to make his own play because we have not had that.
So I know Ashley wanted to talk about Faison, whatever that dude's name is.
Oh, Faison, Brandon Faison.
We bring this dude up every week. Isaiah
Yo,
Rodgers.
he wasn't trash on Thursday. Like, it was probably his best game as a Colt this Thursday. They only threw at him like twice.
He had his least snaps as a Colt on Thursday. That's
why.
Right. I don't think the dude is a bad player. I don't get why he starts over Rodgers has been my issue.
Familiarity.
I feel the exact same way.
I mean, sure, but Rodgers been here for years now.
Right, but he played with him in San Diego.
Different system, but
and then he went with him to the Chargers to the Oakland Vegas Raiders, and now he's here. He's been with him since he was a rookie.
I understand from Gus's side of it. Like, it makes sense he's going with his guy. It's just I don't know, man. I mean, we as fans of the team have seen Rodgers progress, and we've seen what he's capable of. So it's frustrating for us, obviously. But I don't know. I don't hate Faison or anything. He's made he's there. He's all right. He's not like Quincy Wilson, but I don't know. He's just getting all these steps over Rodgers.
I'm gonna give Colts players some love because I usually don't pay attention defensively in football. Grew up playing offense. Okay.
I have a thing for that. All right, come on now.
Oh,
I've been putting in work. I've been putting in work. So this is supposed to say crew lock, and I didn't realize that I put team locks. But the team locks means crew locks, which is what we're about to get into, right? Which is for the games tomorrow. We're going to predict, you guys all are going to pick, whatever team is a lock, right? For a win or a loss, whichever one, doesn't matter. It's on you guys, right? But then you're going to highlight a player for the Colts that you want to highlight, or a group of players. Doesn't have to be one player, all right? But, I put in work, so I'm trying to flash this stuff off. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. Look at how beautiful this is. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Team locks. Doom, doom.
You see what I'm saying? I know. I got to add some voiceovers. And then look, I work
little sound
on
effect. I like it.
You know what I'm saying? I got the mic. I can do all that. It's just.
Hey, I seen them do that on NFL Network.
You know what I'm saying? I can do that. I can edit all the audio and stuff. Whatever. I've been putting in some work for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because
Tide looks. What does that mean, Kate?
What'd she say?
Tide looks.
What do you mean, Kate?
Got to expand on that one. What's that mean?
Hey, ignore her frame. Okay.
She was a bet?
Yeah.
Been there.
She gets to change that on Sunday.
So I technically lost the same bet, but no one told me which one they wanted me to use, so I just didn't change my profile.
It's all good, Kate.
I'm waiting for her to come on, Kate. She's just over here laughing. What's up? What'd you say?
I think she was trying to put team locks, and it probably auto-corrected both words.
Oh my goodness! All right,
I'm subject to that all the time. I'll be typing faster than I can read.
How do you guys feel about this graphic at the bottom? I think I need to work on it a little bit.
Fire.
I think it's fine, man. It's wonderful.
Wonderful.
You should probably move it to the right side so it doesn't cover up Trev's name, because if it was on my
I
right
thought
side,
about that. I thought about that.
It wouldn't cover up my name.
Put it lengthwise or widthwise, whatever height-wise, and you can put it, on the side of the screen, standing up and down rather than horizontally.
I'll see what I can do. It was hard because
it's a tough week to do locks of the week.
So all week I could come into the studio, right? When I set up the broadcast, I can come into the studio, and that's how I'm doing like my editing and stuff.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
So I'm sitting here, I create these things, and then I come in here and I do it. But it's only got me on here. So when it's just me, I can show you all guys. I'll remove you guys real quick, and you guys can hear. But that's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
So, I just messed everybody up. Now it's covering up Zach.
Cool.
But
It's fine. I'm ugly anyway, so it works out.
But so like that's what it looks like. So it's hard for me to judge who it's going to cover. And typically we have 5, right?
Yep.
Because we have me, Trev, Zach, DeMarco, and then we have Damon. So when we have
Shout out
5,
Damon.
Where's
Damon will
Damon
be.
at? I saw him comment.
He's here in Dallas. I'm going to try and meet up with him.
Oh, okay.
He was watching Texas beat down Oklahoma today.
Yeah, he went to the Red River Showdown because they play at SMU.
Much like my beloved Tigers.
Yeah,
that is always a hell of a game, that Red River Showdown.
Except for today. But
Not
normally,
today.
but normally when there's
was that the matchup? I thought it was Texas Tech in Texas.
No, it's Texas and Oklahoma
Texas.
because
okay.
so Oklahoma and Texas play Red River Showdown because they're on the border.
The border
on the
line.
border.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
why.
so normally when we have 5, Damon, whoever the 5th person is ends up in the middle. So the crew locks or whatever this graphic is will show up on the left side and it won't cover anybody. So Damon messed it all up. All right. It was Damon's fault.
It's all him and Quinn Ewers' fault.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He needs to buy me lunch.
Hey, our former Colt, Darius Butler, called him the best quarterback in college football right now.
I can see it, dude. After today's game, hell yeah, bro.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready to go there.
I don't know.
Oklahoma's
To me, he still has that Johnny Manziel feel to me.
Hey, Manziel was my boy in college, so I'm all for it.
I don't want him in the NFL though.
Let's talk about that. Let's have some fun. Let's go a little off script. All right. I took the crew locks down real quick because I'm filling up my drink. So let's talk about that. Johnny Manziel. And this was my thing about Johnny Manziel a few years ago. I think it was about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I was in El Paso. Johnny Manziel was a product of an organization. And what I mean by that is they had Brian Hoyer at the same time, right? And it was kind of like Kaepernick with Alex Smith or Kaepernick with whoever else they had. I can't remember. But what they did was they brought in Johnny Manziel and Brian Hoyer, both of them. Brian Hoyer was initially named as the starter. And that year, that coach, what was his name? God, he was the
David.
He was the 38th coach in the Browns.
The dude wasn't fired for years, and he should have been. What was his name? Lewis? Was it Lewis?
Oh, you're talking about not Marvin Lewis. You're talking about
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. Yeah.
Yes, he was there. He was there way too long, right?
100%.
He was there for like 2 years.
Yes. No, he was not. He was there for a while.
No, he was there for like 6 years.
Yeah, he was there for a while, dude. He was there for like 6 quarterbacks. It's like,
yeah.
But this guy, right? I felt like this is how it went. Brian Hoyer was a starter. He was in Brian Hoyer's ear, like, "Hey man, you fucked this up. You're getting benched," right? So Brian Hoyer wasn't playing well. He wasn't playing well at all. So then Johnny Manziel comes in eventually.
Actually, no, he's not. Jason is better.
Huh?
The comments. You're in the comments. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. versus their
Jackson Smith.
Yeah, Jackson Smith. Jackson Smith is better. Currently.
So then when Johnny Manziel started, I feel like he was also in Johnny Manziel's ear, like, "Hey man, don't fuck this up, or Brian Hoyer is going to be back in it." That's literally how I felt. Why? Because Johnny Manziel is a good quarterback.
Well, also Johnny Manziel was goddamn Jerry Jones's boy. So he's like, "Hey man, you better get this right, or I'm gonna be going to Dallas."
I just felt like Johnny Manziel was a product of the Cleveland Browns organization at the time, and he had potential to really be a great quarterback in the NFL.
It's like nothing good could come out of there. It felt like
I didn't like him. I thought he could run around for 50 yards in circles and just throw the ball up to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans was eating all day.
I personally think he was.
Yeah, Johnny Football. It was the hype train. It was just like me. Like,
it was just
like
fun.
I am a diehard Gators fan, so you guys can probably understand my love for Tim Tebow. I was absolutely terrified for Tim Tebow to go to the NFL because I knew he would not translate. I did not want to see him go to the NFL. Like I was hoping he could play college forever.
Yeah.
So I remember growing up. The first video football game. Sorry, this goes on to the Florida Gators. When I was a kid, first football game I ever played, video game wise, was NCAA.
Low ever.
Yep. Right, and first team I ever played as, I randomized the teams.
Mm-hmm. We're getting fired.
First team I ever played as was Florida Gators.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is my college team. From now on, this is just a team I'm gonna root for. Right? I don't know why. It was just the way it is. And then I kind of like the Penn State at the same time. So I kind of rooted for both teams, mainly because of my position. And at the time, Penn State was known as linebacker U, and that's where I wanted to play college, because I played college ball because I was a middle linebacker. That was like my dream, was to play middle linebacker at Penn State.
Yep.
But Florida was my top team, and the year we won the Super Bowl was the same year Florida beat Ohio State in the championship, and I was so hyped.
Chris Leak?
With Chris Leak.
Freshman Timothy Tebow.
So if anything, if everyone keeps asking me who's my team, I'm probably just going to continue to say Florida, just because that was the one team that I followed as a kid.
Those years that we had were just unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
Like,
you guys got to watch some Big Ten football.
There should even be a 30 for 30 on our team, because we had an idiot for a head coach. At the time, he was one of the greatest. We had a pastor, and we had about 27 dudes that ended up in prison or jail. So,
and a serial killer tight end.
Yeah, like, it was some legit crazy stuff going on at that school. But I love those years, and, man, I wanted to go there. I wanted to be the running back for the University of Florida since I was freaking 14 years old. Yep. But I just was terrified to see Tim Tebow go to the NFL because I knew he would not translate to the NFL. He went to the Broncos, had Tebow mania for a little while, but I just knew he wasn't going to be the same guy in college that he was in the pros. I felt the same way about Johnny Manziel.
I remember
when Jeremy Lin. He had like a season.
I remember when my stepmom was like, hey, where do you want to go to college? Where do you want to play football in college? Because when I was a kid, man, football was life. I lived and breathed football, right? I mean, when I was playing, I would put my pads on at the house. I would go in the backyard, and I would get into a stance, and I would hit trees. I was blocking trees as a kid. That's just what I would do. I was so obsessed with the game.
I would juke trees and tables.
Yeah, when I would watch a game, I was asking questions. I was like, why did he do that?
Yeah.
Why did he do this? Why did he do this? Like, I was asking questions. All I wanted to do was be the best player possible, man. And then I met Brian Dawkins when I was like 12, and we just won a divisional championship game. And he came up to me because his son played for the 60 pounds, and I played on the Unlimiteds. And he was like, hey, man, if you keep playing, you're going to make it pro. And I was like, oh, my God, dude, Brian Dawkins just told me I'm going to go pro. I went straight fangirl, But Penn State, if I would have went to college and went and played at Penn State, I would have been there during the Sandusky fucking scandal.
Blessing in disguise, you didn't go.
Yeah.
Instead, you signed up for the government.
Instead, I signed up for the government. And now me and Trev get experimented on every year.
I guess you were bound for it some way, either way.
Eventually.
This might be a little better.
Let's go ahead and get into
Ash, I was hurt. Robert Windsor retired. I do wish him the best, though.
Who?
Robert Windsor, our old linebacker.
Yep.
I'm going to cover his
D-line?
real quick. Let's go ahead and get
into his
D-line.
Yeah.
I would say he was a DT.
DT.
I got to pull up the games tomorrow.
Yo, I can go first. I'll lead it off if you want me to.
All right, Zach, go ahead. Who you got?
Oh, for my lock game?
Yeah.
Yo, Philadelphia's getting beat this week. Calling it now.
Let me see who they play.
Arizona Cardinals. It's happening. Trap game.
What?
It's happening. It's happening.
Hey,
I don't like it.
Who did you say?
Just a major update for everybody out there. It is week 5. That means DeAndre Hopkins will be eligible to return, I believe, not next week, but the week after.
I took Arizona and Philly, and I have Philly losing this week. I think Arizona's going to beat the brakes off of them.
You got a score for me?
Wait, but hold on.
Beat the brakes off of them?
Hold on. 1 second. One second. So you have that as a lock or as a bold prediction?
No, he has.
That's a lock. I'm calling it lock,
prediction,
man.
My boy.
Hey, what's the bet? What are we doing? We gotta bet this.
Cake pick Arizona too. Y'all wildin'.
I'm taking Arizona just because, there's Philadelphia as someone who despises all Philadelphia sports besides the Flyers, because I got family in Pittsburgh.
I'm a Devils fan, so I don't like it at all. Week 1 is going to be great for us because my wife is a Flyers fan and I'm a Devils fan.
They will. Philadelphia will find a way to lose the game. They shouldn't. This is that game.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
This is that game.
It's only because I absolutely love.
You know what? I actually love that pick because you know what? On our page, Matt, I don't know if you've seen it, but I was going back and forth with some punk ass Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he wanted to sit there and talk about how the Colts are trash or whatever.
On the Twitter.
I'm like,
on the Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah, I'm like, you guys are 4-0, but you over here talking like y'all actually beat somebody. So I'd love for Philly to lose and for us to beat them just so I can go back.
Let me say this real quick. All right. Yeah, Philly hasn't really beaten anybody. Arizona right now, without DeAndre Hopkins and without their main tight end, is a nobody.
Yeah, but they're 2-2.
Nobody. But they're still a nobody.
I mean,
right. That's why Philadelphia will lose.
Exactly.
Because they're going to sweep this game away.
That is actually the game I'm watching because my wife is a Phillies fan, or an Eagles fan. So that's who I'm watching tomorrow. So
hey,
I'll be talking shit to Zach the whole time.
Like if the Eagles end up winning, all right, so be it. But I saw that game and I was like, man, that's a good game. I think Arizona's going to lose. I think Arizona's going to win and beat Philadelphia just because I'm tired of hearing about Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think it would be that bad. I think it would be like 17. I'll do 17-35 Arizona.
So I'm gonna go with a crazy lock too, and y'all might laugh at me for this because I'm kind of on Zach's side. I'm going Giants over Packers.
I'm not gonna laugh at you because I think it could be realistic. I think
Saquon Barkley might that happening.
I think Saquon Barkley might go for 450 yards in that game.
Saquon Barkley is coming into himself. Daniel Jones looks good, in my opinion.
But he's out. He's hurt.
Oh shit! Really?
I think Daniel Jones is hurt.
No, he wasn't on my out injury report.
No. Daniel Jones, he's good. Daniel Jones is good.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is good. He wasn't on my injury report.
They say he may have some lingering issues with the ankle, but I think he's supposed to play. Yeah. So.
Hold on, Ashley. What are you talking about? What about those Phillies? Now I gotta go check that score. What's up? Oh, we're winning 1-0.
No, she said, "What about those Phillies?" She say like hyping them up, like they won a game.
We're 1-0 right now, baby. Let's go. But all right,
hey, you picked the Giants too. You guys be picking some.
But yeah, man, I'm thinking Giants, man. I like what the Giants are doing this year. They don't look terrible like they did last year. Saquon Barkley looks like he's back to himself. If they are able to bring OBJ back,
I think Saquon is going to have 1 passing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns, 450 yards.
You think he's going to throw? I like that.
Gonna go crazy.
He's going to go the old LT in 06.
I'd like to running because I'd love to talk crap to this dude named Jimbo.
So I will say I didn't pick the Giants on my pick'ems, but I will say that I think they're in my lock, just because I'm trying to get my Fridays off, you know. So I picked the Packers, but I actually don't think the Packers are good. I think they're terrible. I think
this is their first time in London too. They've never gone to London. Yep. This is their first time, so I think
they're the only team. Yeah, I know, Kate. They're the only team.
It could be one of those things where because they're going overseas, it kind of messes with their routine.
Hey, you see my cup?
They end up losing again.
Hey, where'd you get that cup? Because I need to get me one.
I got this for Christmas a few years back. I think on Amazon.
Bro, so I have a 23 jersey, but it's a Gore jersey. I need to take that Gore off and put Moore on.
Get a Moore?
Yeah, mine's just Kenny Moore. I bought it because he was my favorite Colt for a while until he started crying about his contract and playing trash.
They'll figure it out. I got faith.
Nah, he actually had a really good game on Thursday. So,
Trev, who you got as a lock?
All right, so I'll have the actual lock since you guys have bold picks all over the place.
I think
you
OBJ
can
might go back
absolutely
to the Giants, Ash.
hammer. You can bet your life savings. Lions beating the Pats. It's happening. It's going down.
Well, come on, man.
It's going down.
You're picking over the Patriots without Mac Jones.
The Patriots. Yeah, I'm picking the Lions over the Pats.
That's
by like 2 scores. Yeah, it's a lock.
You're boring. DeMarco next.
Oh, dang, it's a lot.
Bailey
Hey,
Zappi,
28-14. Jared Goff's going to have 4 touchdowns. It's going to be beautiful.
Bailey Zappi is the GOAT. The Lions are missing too many people. I think the Lions actually face a real defense this week. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Not a real offense, though.
Yeah, that's true. But
that is true.
Yeah, Ash, Bailey Zappi is the GOAT.
Somebody.
Hey, he didn't play bad. He didn't play bad. Okay, so I do want to talk about this real quick. He did not play bad last week.
No, he did not. That's why Aaron Rodgers was pissed off. He said we can't lose to a third-string quarterback that was out here kicking our defense ass.
Hold on. Bill Belichick does not trust him. Because at the end of the game.
Oh, you said Bill Belichick does?
Yeah, at the end of the game, he would not put the ball in his hand.
Well, I mean,
he
what are you gonna do? He's a six-string third. He's a six-string
hold on. You're talking about the same coach who won Super Bowls with a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, but they leaned on their defense for like 5 of those 7 championships.
You leaned on your defense last week.
Brady's never had a defense worse than 7.
The defense had a pick 6 though. They just let the Packers get back into it.
I'm just saying, if you want to put trust in this guy, like you're moving forward with this guy for at least a little bit, you got to put trust in him. And at the end of the game, in the 4th quarter, when you needed to win, what did you do? You hand the fucking ball off on 1st, 2nd, 3rd down? Come on, dude. Let the guy throw the ball, show him what he's got.
I'm going Bucks, Ash. But yeah, I hear you, Matt, but I don't know, man. I think I'd rather put it in a running back's hands.
Ashley,
just because of you got the rookie quarterback and
I got that, man. But how do you figure out who you had?
I think you got to figure out who he is in a full starting game, not just coming off the bench, because that's 2 different things coming off the bench.
Yeah, in the game where he
starting
wasn't
a full
expecting
game
to
that you're being planned for. So, I
don't
mean,
know,
as a coach, I still trust Bill Belichick to do his thing.
So
as a GM,
my question wasn't is Bill Belichick a good coach? Because I've been saying
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They need to change the name of the Super Bowl to Belichick, whatever, right? But
he's kind of mid. I don't know if he's a good coach or not.
He doesn't trust him. He doesn't.
I like Bailey Zappi, man. He's the best college quarterback of all time as far as the stats say. But it's just tough, man. If Bill Belichick don't trust him, I'm gonna ride with Bill on that.
I will say I did pick the Lions. I definitely picked the Lions this week, especially because I think St. Brown's gonna be back.
I picked New England. So.
DeAndre Swift can be out, and that second running back
he's already out.
Yep.
I'm still taking Detroit.
Williams is still a monster. And St. Brown is only questionable. I haven't seen an update about it, so that's something you need to keep a lookout on because if he's out, I did pick up their wide receiver 2 for FanDuel.
Who's that?
Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, he might be. He's questionable.
He's having like a breakout year. I think he's their one moving forward.
Yeah, but if
that guy's good.
He was out last week, and here he is again.
Yeah.
I can't circle it, but he's over here on the questionable side. I don't think you were here, Trev, for the.
Oh damn!
But he's right there.
Thank you.
You pick up DJ Chark?
Marcus Peters is questionable against the Bengals. That's not good.
Yep. So
it feels like the Ravens secondary is always questionable.
I mean, their secondary is questionable just on the field alone. But if they questionable injuries, it's ugly.
Hey, DeMarco, who you got for a lock?
My lock of the week is easy for me, man. I'm taking Pat the GOAT Mahomes over the Raiders. I think they're about to put up like 46 points again, like they usually do against the Raiders. That's a lock of the week. Doom. Yeah.
Hey, I need to start doing some audio work now. Because it seems like y'all want some audio in here, and I do have Adobe Premiere Pro, so I can.
Hey, it's all good, man. You ain't got to put too much on yourself. I'll put the audio in. I got some voices, some different voiceovers.
You just gotta send them to me so I can put them up in here.
Don't.
I'll be recording and getting screenshots and pictures of everything. So I'll see.
I enjoy this stuff, man. I enjoy doing this. Like I even have this. Let's see. So like you know how our jerseys have the white stripes. I kind of got the white stripes over here.
Oh, that's dope.
I would just have to take the logo down and boom. Now we got, Colt stripes on like we're wearing jerseys. So all I would have to do is make the background. Let's see if I can mess with it.
Hey, I got a quick question for you guys.
Just
because I was wondering, because I've told a couple people this and then wonder, who are you guys taking this week in Jacksonville and Houston?
Jacksonville.
Taking Jacksonville.
I'll be right back.
Houston's god awful.
Damn, you guys all pick Jags, huh?
I'm taking the Jags. Now, I don't think Houston is as bad as everyone. I don't think they're like number 1 overall pick bad. I think they're like number 4 overall pick bad.
So I got Houston in that game.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Where's it at? Are they the home team or
they swept the Jags last year, and I still think they're better than the Jags currently.
So they do weirdly good in the division. They just suck against everybody else. But
exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Jags are on something else this year. I could see them actually making a run. As painful as that might be to watch.
I didn't pick Houston because I want them to win. I picked them because I thought they would win, but I would also like for them to win because as ugly as our team has been, I would love to be number 1 in the division.
Oh, yeah.
I did pick Tennessee and Houston to win, though, so that would put us at 2nd.
Sure. Yeah, these next 2 weeks are going to be super important for us. I mean, it's kind of going to define the rest of the year. I mean, think about it. This is one of our best starts in a couple years, as ugly as it's been. We're 2-2-1.
You know, I actually somebody just posted it the other day, and I was looking back on it, and this actually wasn't our best start, which I thought it has been. So this year we're 2-2-1. Last year we were 1-4.
Yep.
The year before that we were 3-2. The year before that we were 3-2. The year before that we were 1-5.
Or the year of Jacoby.
The year of Jacoby, that was 2019. We ended up 5-2, but through 5 games we were 3-2.
Sure,
And through 2018 we were 1-5. So this has actually been close to one of our worst starts. So we've had 2 1-5, 1-4 starts. This is tied for our 3rd worst start at 2-2. We've had 2 other 3-2 starts. So
I want to say this is Frank's best start since Jacoby.
With Rivers, we went 3-2 as well through 5 games. So this is our 3rd worst start.
Well, if we would have signed Chase McLaughlin, starting week 1.
3rd worst or 3rd best? Because I would say this is our 3rd best.
I mean, I don't know if you really call it 3rd worst or 3rd best.
Because most of the time when we started 0-2.
I'm gonna call it 3rd. I'm gonna call it 3rd best because we won on Thursday. It's not.
It's 3rd worst.
Because with Jacoby we went 5-2.
So what is it? So 2022, right? We're 2-2-1. So let's go back to what is it? 20.
Last year we went
2020. We started 3-2 through 5 games. 2019 3-2 through 5 games. This year 2-2-1 through 5 games. 2021 we were 1-4 through 5 games, and then 2018 we were 1-5 through 5 games. So this is right in the middle.
If our offense could just figure it the hell out, we could actually make a playoff run this year. Especially with how bad the division is.
We really could.
So that's a crazy thing too, is that we're not out of it. We're not out of it.
We deserve to be, but we're not.
So we have who next? Jacksonville?
Yep.
At home.
At home on Sunday.
So
we should win. We should win that game 45-7, but we'll see how it goes.
That's just one of those things.
One can hope and pray.
We always.
I mean, if they
and at home is one of those things where
we just play different at home versus Jacksonville. It's like on the road we're like a Pop Warner team. At home we're like an NFL team. So
you remember last year. You remember last year they took us to the wire last year too, even at home.
They did, but I feel the way our team is this year, I think our team is better. I mean, defensively, I think our team is better without the turnovers. Yeah. So if you look at our statistics last year versus this year, we are a better defense. We just don't get as many turnovers. So if we can get those turnovers back, we'd probably be number 1 defensively. It's just our offense is struggling so much that it's like.
I think Leonard's a huge part of that too. If we can get Shaq back, we should start getting.
I really don't think Leonard is gonna. I mean, I get it. We love Shaq. I don't think.
No, I'm talking strictly takeaways. I'm talking strictly takeaways because he has those punch outs. He gets in there for interceptions sometimes. He has that big play ability that other guys who are just as efficient. They just don't get the takeaways that he.
He's the exact reason I picked us to beat Tennessee, and the fact that he went out hurt, it made it more iffy for me. And I think if we have him for the full game, I think he makes a turnover in that game.
So my issue is that like the same thing. Hold on 1 second. Working on something real quick. I'm always doing something for this. But Shaq, our defense is playing so well without Shaq that I don't know how much of a difference Shaq is going to make with his ability to create turnovers. But that was last year. What do we get this year? We need to see it first because he needs a grace period, right? He's coming off of a surgery on his back, right? He's going to need a grace period. He's not going to come in and make instant, tomahawk, bam. You know what I mean? Right. It's not going to happen instantly.
Well, the good news is that there's 17 teams that are 2-2, and we're not too far down in the AFC. So the fact that he does need a grace period, it's not like last year where we're like 1-4, and like really trying to figure it out. So it's better. But I think when he does come back, we'll be okay. Our defense just pretty much got to do what they did on Thursday. I mean, now look, man, like Kenny Moore came away with a great strip away. We had 2 sacks. We had like 9 QB pressures. Yep. I mean, Denver's offensive line isn't that great, but I don't care. I'm tired of people taking things away from what we did to beat the
Denver they took
Broncos.
Advantage of it.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You don't come away from games if you don't take advantage of plays. So
exactly.
That's what it is to me at the end of the day. And if this defense can keep playing the way they're playing, DeForest Buckner looked great out there. And, I mean, this guy was playing with an elbow injury, and we didn't even have Kwity through half of that game. So, at the end of the day, just keep going, making plays. And I think if our offense can step it up, we literally could still, somehow end up as a top team in the AFC, just looking at the teams that everybody are playing. Like, nobody's, like, far above everybody else. I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs, who are only 3-1 until tomorrow. After they play, we still got a chance to still sit here and be in the fight, regardless if we like it or not.
So I love that you brought that up. I really think.
Oh, hold on, real quick, Matt. Ashley, yeah, he did have a strip on the ball on Thursday. He punched it out on a kick return, but Denver recovered. I do love Flowers. That's my guy, even though he don't respond to me on Twitter. Go ahead, Matt.
You know what? Speaking of Twitter. Man, Yannick Ngakoue made me hyped on Thursday, bro. When I was like, he said game day, I was like, let's go, and he liked it. I was like, yeah, let's go. And then Paris Campbell's wife posted something on Twitter, and I commented on it. She followed me. I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, she be commenting back. Paris don't, but she be looking out for the people that support him.
That's pretty damn awesome, man. At least he doesn't have a wife like Patrick Mahomes has. It's psycho, but I know that, like, let's get into the highlights of who we want to, show love to for the Colts, because Zach was getting into that, and then we, kind of steered off a little bit. I want to talk about defensive front. I don't want to talk about just one player. That whole defensive front, the whole 4. I want to talk about Kwity Paye. I want to talk about Grover Stewart.
What?
DeForest Buckner.
What?
Yannick Ngakoue.
What?
And, oh, boy, I can never say Deo. Let's say Deo.
What?
Bro, what? That's all you got to do, man, because this is the best defensive front I want to say we've had since we had Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis.
They have been balling.
And, statistically for the DVOA has us at 13th against offenses that we've played. But this defensive front is just disruptive in the pass game and in the run game. DeForest looks better than he has in the last 3 years, in my opinion.
It helps when you got a wrecking mate. Like DeForest Buckner for the last year and a half has just been on his own trying to create pressure. I mean, when you got Yannick and Kwity doing their thing, and then you even got Grover, who's majorly improved this year in the pass rush.
Grover.
Like, man, it helps when you got some guys that people actually have to block. Like, teams are not double covering or double teaming Buckner; they're double teaming Grover. So this helps. It helps like crazy when you got guys that are actually helping you. I love it.
Yeah,
I love the D line. I love it,
bro. I think there's one thing that excites me is when the defense comes on the field. I don't feel like I have to stress too much. I'm like, okay, the game is in the defensive hand. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And the worst part is that I felt the same way last year. If the defense is on the field last, I think I have a little more excitement that we could win the game.
I haven't felt that way in a long time.
I felt like it last year. I did, because we were a bend don't break. We were going to let them get down there, but somehow we were going to make a play, and it was consistent last year. This year, it's like this year's the same way. Like, I don't feel worried when the defense is on the field. When the offense is on the field is when I'm concerned. I'm like, oh, no, here we go. We took the ball away, but we're about to give it right back. I love this defense, man. I just love it.
Yeah, for real. Ash, I haven't seen the Notre Dame game yet.
Dude, I'm going to shout out and give love to is Rodney Thomas, the second.
Ooh, young bull.
I typically stay away from defense because I don't like playing defense. I don't know anyone who does.
I do. I love playing defense.
I do. So
I'll play.
My 3 favorite players of all time, right? Because when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a middle linebacker. But as I got older, I realized I was too short, and I thought I was going to go to college and play safety. My 3 favorite players of all time: Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, Bob Sanders.
All
3 favorite players of all time. And then Polamalu is my next one, and then Ray Lewis. Those are my top 5.
One linebacker in there.
I just like Rodney because, he's got range. And he's shown that, he's a 7th-round pick, but
the play that he made.
He's an athlete. And that play that he made on Jerry Jeudy, whoever that was,
he was hella mad.
That was incredible.
He was looking for that flag.
Bro, so I was so pissed because analysts tried to take that away from Thomas. They were like, oh, if Russell Wilson were throwing it more to the sideline. He didn't. I don't care.
And I don't care where you put that ball. Thomas was on his neck.
Bro, Thomas
3 yards out.
But Thomas came from the other side of the field.
Exactly.
The other side of the field and made that play, and he didn't even touch him. Touch him.
Ash, I think Armani Watts is on IR for the season. I forgot what his injury was, but I think he's out for the season.
Broken ankle.
Yeah, broken ankle. Matt, just like you were saying, dude, he came from about 10 yards away. I'm talking about this was a rangy safety. And to me, that's why I love Rodney Thomas, because he showed in the preseason he can come in the box and tackle. The only question I had about him was if he had to play, can he go play in range? And the boy was getting down 2 weeks.
Let me ask this. Let me ask this, right? Because last year we were without Julian Blackman. If we would have had him last year, defense would have been different. Oh, hey, buddy.
What's wrong with you? You see your face?
No. Some reason my mouth is bleeding.
Let me see. Open your mouth. You're okay. You're not bleeding.
Tooth coming out?
Yes, Will is wiping my... So was my mouth.
You're good, man. You don't have to mute all that.
No.
Man, I love kids, man.
You ain't got to do all that, man.
Yeah. But for real, if we would have had Thomas last year, do you think we would have had some defensive struggles? I think this guy is a future starter, in my opinion.
If we had Thomas, we wouldn't have our boy Sendejo. It's probably a fact.
I love Sendejo, though. I think I just have respect for him because he was older and he was able to perform.
No, so to me, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Sendejo had.
We all have that soft spot for Sendejo. If we had Thomas last year, Sendejo wasn't stepping on the field.
Hold on, man.
He was a dog.
But I got that. But Sendejo had the average, right? He was an average safety at his age, which is, I think, why we had that love for him. He wasn't good. He wasn't great. He was average. He made plays when he needed to. He was there. He was the best last year that we had.
He was the best available option for getting him off the street. That's for sure.
Yes.
He came in and balled out.
I can agree. I can agree to that.
But if we had Thomas last year, Thomas last year.
See, if we had Thomas last year, we don't lose to the Rams, we don't lose to Seattle, and we don't lose to Baltimore. That's 3 wins right there that I believe that would have got us to the number 1 seed and would have got us in the playoffs.
I'm gonna take you a step further. If we had Yannick Ngakoue, we would not have lost to Tennessee twice.
It's still a tough one to call because Carson Wentz had to sprain ankles week 4.
That's fine.
We played them.
But our issues were defensively. when Ryan Tannehill was running off the goddamn edge.
Yeah, but we picked him off like twice, I think, that game.
But he beat us with his feet. He didn't beat us with his arm.
I guess that's true, but
he definitely beat us with his feet. And this last Sunday, he only ran once. The issues on Sunday when we played them was offensively not being able to score when we got in scoring range. If we would have just kicked field goals each time, we would have won that game. But we didn't, and it just became a mess.
No, I think it would have ended up being 23-24, right? Because it was two field goals that we didn't get.
No, there was three. There was three because we scored a touchdown. It was 24-17, and then we had 3 other drives that went scoreless.
After the touchdown?
Yes.
I may need to go back and watch that. I think
Because I watched.
Ash, you said
the tape as I was on the treadmill.
Ash,
which one do you want?
You thought we said Deo what? Ash. But yeah, no. It's just what Ronnie Thomas to me, like just like you said before, Matt. You said your favorite safeties were Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, and Bob Sanders. All those guys were rangy. To me, though, that's 2 things you got to be able to do as a safety. You got to be able to tackle, not hit hard. You got to be able to tackle, and you got to be able to be a rangy safety that doesn't get beat deep. And to me, that's why I didn't like Andrews Sendejo. He wasn't really a cover guy, and he wasn't really a tackle guy. He was a lay to hammer guy. He was more of those guys that like you put in the box, and they're gonna be freaking legit, like a Jamal Adams. Like you put them in the box, and they're gonna come lay hat. But outside of that,
we need a Bob Sanders. We need a Bob Sanders.
That's why I like Nick Cross. I think Nick Cross can be that guy, but
I don't think he is. I think he is.
I think he is. He doesn't. I'm telling you, Matt. It's just like with Isaiah Rodgers. He just needs like 5 plays a game.
This is why I like these shows, and this is why we're 40 minutes over our allotted time, which we're just gonna keep going because I'm having fun, right? And Zach's having fun. We're all having fun. We're gonna keep going.
Probably getting ready to go to bed, man. I'm tired.
I'm not even in the middle of the day, so my kids are asleep. My wife's asleep. All right. So listen. None of our safeties right now are a strong safety caliber. None of them. I get it. I mean, some of them can play the run.
I don't know. McLeod is probably the best one. Strong safety
Tradition, yeah, right. And he's more of a cover safety. Traditional safeties that I think of when I think of strong safety, it's Brian Dawkins, Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu, right? You got some other guys in there in the mix that you don't, not big name guys, but John Lynch, dudes that hit hard. Dudes that hit you like a linebacker. They're short. They're big. They hit you like a linebacker. We don't have those guys, man. We got short coverage, fast guys. We don't have guys that are going to go up to Derrick Henry and lay his ass out.
But see, that's
they don't make Cam Chancellors on trees no more.
Right, but what I'm saying is Derrick Henry, right? If he would have faced any of those guys back in the day, those strong safeties.
Yeah. He couldn't run high like he does now.
He wasn't running high.
But that's my thing though. Is Nick Cross didn't play against Derrick Henry. That's one of those things that you always say. You always say it about unproven guys or guys that don't play. You say you can't trust them if they don't play and you haven't seen them. Nick Cross didn't play against Derrick Henry. So how is he supposed to get that experience? I'm saying give the guys 5 games up. 5 games. 5 games up. 5 plays a game.
If you play him against Derrick Henry and he puts Derrick Henry on his ass, because there's Khari Willis. Where's Khari Willis? Because Khari Willis put Derrick Henry on his ass.
Yeah, but you go back and look the hit. It's like a tackle and then like a sideways fall on top of me. Yeah, I watched
the layout.
I watched the highlight.
There were 2 hits. There were 2 hits, and Khari Willis had a layout on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
But here's the other thing. But let's talk about it because Derrick Henry is another thing, and Sean Taylor is another.
Yes, Ash. Sean Taylor to me was one of the old school, like real, like legit old school.
My favorite highlight of him. My favorite
Pro Bowl where he smacks the punter.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor is the guy that gets down. Sean Taylor is one of those guys that go all out all day.
He was not playing around that
365. Love Sean Taylor. But yeah, I'm just saying, man, it's just guys like that. We got to get them in. You got to get them 5 plays a game.
I get it, but until I see it as a fan, because listen, if I'm a coach, hold on. If I'm a coach, I'm sorry, I'm pouring my drink.
Nah, you're good.
If I see it as a coach, right? Because as a coach, you see differently than what us fans want to see. And I've coached football for a long time, for the last decade. And there were players that were parents, whatever. They're like, oh, play him. I'm like, yeah, he's going to get in, but he's on a rotational basis, right? Why? Because he's not as good as you think he is. You got some love for him, and that's fine. But when it comes to the game time, it's like, I'm going to play the best options that I have. Right?
Colts don't do that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
There's two things to that though. Like it's just like my son plays Pop Warner right now, and I realize he's not that good. You know, he's got to learn how to play. It's his first year, but at the same time, you want to see your kid put in 5, 6, 7 plays. It's like if they don't play, they don't gain the experience. So how does a guy get better from year 1 to year 2?
So I'm not going to lie. Pee-wee is a
study film.
Pee-wee is a whole lot different because in Pee-wee, I've always given these guys the opportunity to play.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So that's
NFL's about being a pro.
Like the same thing. Exactly. It's about being a pro. But what do pros do? Pros play.
They study film. They get the reps in and practice.
They practice.
So I'm gonna say to you,
out on the field. So if you don't go out on the field, you don't actually have to communicate with the guy next to you. Communicate to a guy next to you. Communicate with a guy in front of you. You don't learn how to play. Like I played safety and corner. Those are my positions, and I know for a fact that if you're never on the field and you're sitting on the sideline and this is your first time playing, you don't really get that experience to go out and be able to know like I'm gonna come up and make a hit because I know that's run. I'm gonna get back in my zone because I know that's pass. These are things that you miss out on if you don't even get a couple plays. And look at Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas has been legit. And this is just
but I also feel
in zone coverage. He hasn't even came up to that yet.
Also gonna say maybe this might have something to do with it. I don't know.
Coach Trev.
I don't know any. I mean, that's the thing. Rodney Thomas went to Yale, so he's incredibly intelligent. And I feel like he's using his right. I feel like he's using that intelligence to take advantage of the opportunity that Nick Cross essentially lost. Not because Nick Cross didn't have the ability.
No, he has the athleticism. It's just he's missing the smarts, the recognition.
Right. I think Nick Cross is the far more talented player.
I like that you brought up where he was from because
one of those things is
game again. If you go back and watch the game, the broadcast kept bringing that up. They're like, "Oh, there's Thomas from Yale." Yale. Oh, like everyone was so shocked that this guy from Yale was making plays.
I mean,
hey, Ash, our offense does need to get in rhythm, but I honestly think at this point it's an offensive line thing. I don't think it's everybody else. If our offensive line can start playing better, I think our offense can legit get it going.
Hey, yo, I gotta hop off here. My computer's getting ready to die.
Okay, man.
All right, no problem. Yeah, Matt, I don't know if you're ready to be done or not, but I'm gonna go off on the last thing here. Oh, he cut out.
Hey, so keep going if you want. It's fine.
Now my wife's gonna kick my ass in a minute.
I don't mind you.
But yeah, no. My last thing is just how everybody talks about, the Colts done this and done that, and they didn't really win, and other teams have more so lost it. I'm not with that mentality, dude. I will take 12-9 or 17-20 how we beat the Chiefs. I will take that for another 13 weeks to get wins. I'm not apologetic about any win. I know we all want Frank Reich fired, but I will take 15 more of those wins all the way to a goddamn Super Bowl. If that's what it gets us, I'm not apologizing for any win. I want the Colts to win every week. So
I'm with you. I'm not I mean, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, tank, whatever, right? And I'm emotional. It's just how I've always been. Bro, yep. I remember, let me take it back a little bit, right? I apologize to your wife. Show her this part so that she knows. Right? It's story time. When we went into the playoffs 4 years in a row, we lost to the Patriots.
Yep.
Right? 4 years in a row, we lost to the Patriots. And I was starting to get pissed. Dude. I was a kid, man. I think I was like 10 to 10 or 11, 12 when we started losing in the playoffs to the Patriots all the time. And then the year we won the Super Bowl, we went down 21-3 against New England, and we were at home. This was the first time that we had home field advantage against the Patriots in the playoffs. First time. And I was like, oh, we're going to win because this is the first time we're not playing in the fucking snow. Because we always played in the snow in New England in the playoffs, and we just sucked. And this was the first time we played in the RCA Dome at home, and I was like, man, we have a chance. Bro, halftime, 21-3. Dude, I went to my room. I was crying like a little bitch. I was so sad. I was so mad. I was playing Madden, whatever. And then my mom started cheering, and I went to my room, and I came back out, and we started winning, right? And then we won the Super Bowl. I was hyped. And it's just one of those things where, like, now I'm just like, what is happening? Like, where did this organization go? All the way up until 2018. I understood a couple years that we kind of sucked because Andrew Luck was in and out of injuries. And then 2018, we went 1-5. And then we ended up making the playoffs. And then we lost to the Chiefs. But after Andrew Luck retired, man, this is not the Colts organization that we're used to.
Reggie Wayne just said we were spoiled too.
Spoiled. And I think some of us fans have to realize that we're going to have ugly wins, right? We're going to have them because it's just who we are. We had ugly wins with Peyton Manning. We had wins with Peyton Manning through 3 interceptions. We had wins.
We had major comebacks, and people forget about those.
Does anybody remember the Monday night Tampa Bay comeback?
Nope. They don't remember. We were down by 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns with 2 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes left in that game. We came back and won. Monday Night Football. Largest Monday Night Football comeback ever. Like, I get upset, and I'll go on Twitter, and I'll talk to Jim. I'll be like, hey, Jim, what the fuck are you putting together? I just got to get it out sometimes. But when it comes to game day, dude, I don't care. I'm loving the Colts like nothing ever happened. We lost 3 days before we played the Broncos, and I'm like, when it came to game day, hey, I forget that we lost to Tennessee. It's game day. Let's go. We're coming in to get that win. Hey, yeah, we won 12-9 in an overtime win.
And I was pissed off about that. I was pissed off about that whole game until we won.
Yeah, the whole game until Gilmore made that play. It's like,
so that's why I'm getting tired of people being like, "Oh yeah, we didn't really win." Like, nah, fuck that, bro. I'm unapologetically taking a win. I will take 12-9 and a Colts win all the way to a goddamn Super Bowl if that's what it means. Because I don't care.
Listen,
everybody wants to make an excuse like, oh, this team lost it. Oh, this team lost it. Well, guess what? I'll let the Jags lose it. I'll let the Titans lose it. I'll let the Washington Commanders lose it. I'll let the Patriots lose it. I'll let the Chargers lose it. I'll let the Raiders lose it. I will let all of these teams lose it up until we win the Super Bowl. And guess what they're going to say? The Indianapolis Colts are the Super Bowl champs because everybody else lost it. Nobody else wanted it. I don't care. Guess what? That means we wanted it, right? That's what I'm saying.
And I agree. We're 2-2-1 right now, right? And 2 wins, I can say that, we either won it or the other team lost it. But either way, that's in our win column. So
we walk away with the W.
Who cares? Now, guess what? We need to go ahead and next week, right? We got the whole week to heal up. Look at the film. If these players are not in the film room studying right now, they've got an issue because they're all wrong.
They got to get
up. They're all wrong. They need to get it. I get it. You have families, but you need to go ahead and look at that film. Watch
absolutely.
that film.
Absolutely.
Watch what you've done wrong.
Win.
Watch what you've done wrong. Learn how you can, figure out how you can learn from that. Take it, adjust, do it better. So that you can beat Jacksonville, because if we lose against Jacksonville again, that's it.
Yeah, it's gonna be real ugly.
But I bet you, I'm willing to bet right now that we don't lose to Jacksonville again.
No, I'm telling you, I got that game as like 35-7, like something like it should be a dominant game from a team that is pissed off.
And Frank weeks 1 through 5 has a losing record.
Yep.
After week 5. He's good. It takes him 5 weeks a season.
Yep. Better be. So, yeah, just any Colts fan out there that are watching, just letting y'all know the Colt DeMarco Sanderson is unfazed. I will accept any W if it is a W, as long as we build off of it. I'm going to take it to a Super Bowl. Just letting y'all know I'm representing each and every day. Go Colts. Win or lose.
Hey, man, hold on. I even had this thing I worked on. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. Hold on. And I forgot to put it up there.
You know, we're going to swipe off that. We're going to swap off that Tennessee because that was the week before. Like, Colts, you see the dub. The dub.
Look at that.
The dub.
Hey, that's a beautiful graphic, though, ain't it? Look at that.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, your boy made that. Your boy made that.
Putting in work.
Providing quality. Hey, there's going to be something similar to that next week, right? So I'm going to keep putting in work. It's just what it is. It is.
Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Hey, make sure you guys subscribe, like, and follow.
Subscribe, like, follow, however you listen to us, your guys on Kicking It with the Crew.
Hey, so make sure you guys follow listeners. We are on Twitter. All right, look up Kicking It with the Crew on Twitter,
Instagram,
IG, Facebook. All right, and then subscribe on YouTube, Kicking It with the Crew.
I'm gonna check on YouTube. Go Colts.
Go Colts, baby. Go Colts.
Wentz had a nice bounce back year.
Season, he was good.
The issue for me with Wentz is always chips are on the line. Now what? And I picked the Jags because of Carson Wentz.
I think it's one of the worst losses in recent NFL memory for me. I think it's one of the worst losses in the history of their franchise. It absolutely falls at the feet of Carson Wentz, but everybody in that organization had a hand in it.
In the meantime, we have another quarterback on the move. Matt Ryan has been traded to the Colts.
Breaking news out of the NFL where Stephon Gilmore is signing with the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts have traded for Yannick Ngakoue.
Wow. Jonathan Taylor is the MVP of the NFL. This is the best run-blocking offensive line in the NFL.
Reggie Wayne talking about Matt Ryan, exact quote. It makes me throw up how much he reminds me of Peyton Manning.
In the end zone to Jonathan Taylor. Goodbye, touchdown. Off to the races is Kenny Moore, and it's a pick six. DeForest